Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Welcome to Otaku Chris is Talking, and this is your weekly anime review for Youjo Senki. This is for episode 2. What a very good episode. This is the episode I feel that people needed to really get themselves immersed in this series a bit more than in the first one, as this episode had a lot more characterization, plot development, and just kind of like a bit more world building and gave us an understanding of what the fuck is actually going on. Whereas in the first one, really put us in the middle of all the hype and all the shit that was going on in the series. Now, if you're new to my channel, do subscribe, as I make regular manga, anime, otaku reviews and videos and all this kind of good stuff, and hopefully you just enjoy any of them. So subscribe, because there might be something here you might like. There might not be, but still at least you're subscribed. Do check out my second channel where I do a lot of my other videos which aren't anime related. But if you do like the sound of my voice for some weird reason, or if you just want to see my other shit, feel free to check that out. All these details will be in the description box down below. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Yeah. Now, this episode was pretty fucking interesting. We actually get to get a bit more info about the world and about like this supernatural element to the series that we were hinted about in the last episode, but we didn't really get to know what the fuck was going on with Tanya and why Tanya was speaking a certain way about to God and about God and this and that and her faith and stuff. But kind of tiptoed around it, but it didn't really go into depth. It kind of gave us a slight glimpse of a supernatural element, but didn't really tell us what the element was about. So now this episode we get to see Tanya way before she's Tanya, way before that. And Tanya was basically a dick. He was basically that boss who was such a prick that everyone just, you know, there's that boss that you just kind of wishes died. I know it kind of sounds really, really crazy, and it's a pretty morbid topic, but realistically in the world there are times when you just come across that one boss who just doesn't empathize with the staff or with the employees, literally doesn't really give a shit about anything, just cares about the numbers, about the business going right, about their development in the company, and just about money basically, and just, or is just too, has something up the arse and it's just about rules. Now that's not that is bad, but I guess it's good for the company because they get the shit done, and they're the kind of person to make sure that a company works right. But when it comes to the employees, that's the kind of company or the kind of person who really doesn't have that much engagement and attachment or connection to employees. And these are the kind of ones where the employees normally end up back chatting about them, or basically end up murdering the boss, as you saw. And these kind of things just do happen, so it's not that surprising. And you kind of see this when the guy that's murdered, let's just call him Adam, just for being simple. You really get to see Adam's point of view and perspective of why he does things. He really honestly doesn't give a fuck. He's just a guy who focuses about the rules, getting shit done, getting his getting higher up in the ranks and being a boss. That is what he wants to do. He doesn't really have that empathy, and he basically laid off one of the employees, and he just did it because it had to be done. It's one of those things. It wasn't like he had to get all emotional about it, just get it done. But obviously we all have our different reasons as to why we're working, and it affects everyone differently. So someone who's really rich and gets fired, for them may not be an issue, but someone who's working to provide for the family, for the children, for whatever, to be fired like that so suddenly and not really have any empathy or connection or help even from the manager or boss could really mentally fuck you up, as you now need to explain this to the rest of your family. And this guy basically ends up pushing Adam off of a train track, off of the side of the train track in front of the yellow lines. Maybe it's Adam's fault, who knows. And right before he gets hit by a train, boom, shit gets super interesting, shit gets super intense, and the supernatural element of the series then kicks in. We then get introduced to a being, a being that we don't know what it looks like, who she looks like, but has given themselves the title of the Wheel of Reincarnation, and their role in this universe is to reincarnate people who have faith, and people who don't have faith is basically pointless to reincarnate them because they don't deserve it. But whilst this Wheel of Reincarnation person is in a conversation, basically we don't get to see their face, but we get to hear their voice coming from all the different people that are in the surrounding. Now when this is happening, shit just looks super fucking cool because you get to see it all from a 360 point of view and everyone's perspective, but the same voice from different people that are on the platform. And it's just fucking weird, but it's super nice. And from that, Adam, he's in the middle of like time stopping, basically ends up having a conversation with this being, and basically ends up saying, well, you're obviously not God, because God wouldn't put me in this situation, and I don't believe in God, and even if I did, blah blah blah. And Being X is like, whoa, this isn't the kind of thing that you should be saying right before you die, because you could have gone to heaven. But if you're really that serious about not believing on God, you know what? I have something for you. Adam was like, whoa, what are you going to do? And then the Being X is like, well, I see, because your needs are met all the time. I see, because you're the no dire straits, because the level of technology that that you're surrounded by, all these things just make shit really easy for you. Let me put you into a situation where you will have to fend for yourself, and let's see how you do in that situation. And boom, the story of Tanya the Evil begins, and we get to see that Adam basically gets reincarnated into the body of Tanya, just a baby, and like basically that's where the series kind of begins, and shit just is different. Shit is just different. Now, the world that Adam was in before was basically the same equivalent world as ours. Had skyscrapers, buildings, computers, TVs, cars, trains, everything was exactly the same. They didn't seem to have any element of magic or supernatural elements in it. But once Adam was reborn, reincarnated into Tanya, and now Adam is Tanya. Tanya is basically remembers everything from the previous life of being like Adam. Even though Tanya's a fucking child, you get to see, even though Tanya's speaking baby language, the mindset, the mentality is still of Adam. And that's one of the reasons why that's the reason why Tanya basically is so like advanced, because she's super fucking smart. She understands what's going on. She knows both worlds and both universes, and Tanya's main aim now is to get revenge on Being X for basically just kind of just not letting shit happen and reincarnating her into like a whole new world which could basically fuck up. But Tanya is aware. Basically, Tanya is woke, as the children say, and basically is aware of the situations, is aware about hierarchy and power and development and careers paths and all that kind of stuff at the age of like 4 or 5. And by the age of 7, 8, ends up being recruited by the military, well, out of voluntary recruitment, because she basically shows that she's a mage, this, that, and it's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna work hard and get to the top. And that's where this series is going. Now, like, sorry I fucking spoke so much about that, but like I was gonna say, this is kind of stuff that was really cool. Most of the episode focused on Tanya's characterization and fitting Tanya into, and giving Tanya a plot, basically. Have given Tanya a goal and given Tanya that level of just something that makes her interesting. And that this beginning of the episode really did tie into Tanya's personality, because we knew fuck all about Tanya. The world knew nothing about Tanya, but all they know is that there's something different about Tanya. From her abilities as a mage, we get to see Tanya in her first battle. The whole episode was basically a flashback of how Tanya became who she was, and how Tanya first acted. Even in her training, we get to see Tanya just basically trialing out like the abilities and everything, and she wasn't even really all there. And we get to see how Tanya felt in like a life or death situation, and it's so creepy. I personally really like it when Tanya gives that really creepy smile, because it's the same smile that you get to see Adam gave when Tanya was a man in the original world. So yeah, this is a fairly cool episode. I'm really interested in this series. I really want to know where this is going. At the end of the episode, we do get a slight look into this person who's been basically mind mapping about Tanya and about taking notes about Tanya's abilities and her magical powers and this and that and this and that. So Tanya's definitely like has people looking out for her. And I think the fact that Tanya looks so young, and well, not looks so young, I think the fact that Tanya is so young, and we find out that Tanya's 9 years old, definitely makes her a target and makes her seem vulnerable. But as we saw in this episode, Tanya is not vulnerable, and her being small doesn't mean shit. She can still whoop your ass. Yeah. So that's this episode. What did you guys think about this episode? Do you guys think it's better than the first episode? Are you going to stick around, or are you waiting for episode 3 to find out whether you really do enjoy this episode? I'm going to stick around to the end of the series. Hopefully, this is a seinen series, so I'm more into my seinen series. I love things like this where it's not quite generic or quite obvious where the plot's going to go. But I'm hoping that we do get up to a point where we find Tanya's match, and like, yeah, we get to see basically someone who's the strongest Tanya, or who's someone who's as powerful or as smart, or anything else, or whether there are more reincarnated people in this series. And you never know, but it seems so far that maybe Tanya's the only reincarnated one. What did you guys think? I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Do subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and stick around for more videos for myself. Remember, Otaku Chris is talking. Have a great day.